is about the railways in Cape Town, but more specifically the second Cape Town train station from the romantic days of steam. This image is from 1905. The station had various forms over the years, causing a bit of confusion when looking at the multitude of photos available. I have tried to make sense of it here. This image is from 1887. This is the earliest photo of a locomotive in the Cape. The engine, called Blackie, is seen here in 1870 crossing the old Salt River Bridge, which is no longer in existence. This is possibly a photo of the first train station in Cape Town, although I'm not 100% sure, as there is mention of it being a wooden structure. This is also around 1870. Here we have an old tank engine passing by the castle circa 1880. Here we see a steam locomotive exiting the station in 1883. Note all the trees. This is the last we will see of them. This is what Adderley Street looked like in the Victorian era circa 1900, before cars or tarred streets. We are standing at the old pier looking up Adderley Street towards the mountain. Cape Town had a very well developed tramway system going as far as Wynberg, Seapoint and Camps Bay. Here we see the Camps Bay tramway coach standing in front of a tramway station in Adderley Street. This building has been removed to make way for the new station. Here we see the tram turning into Darling Street, likely on its way to the southern suburbs. This is Darling Street in 1905. Here we see the tram at Camps Bay in 1912. This is a side view across Adderley Street towards the goods yard around 1900. Note the two triangular buildings no longer in existence. Here we see Monument Station, which was on the line towards Seapoint, and the old power station. Here we see a train coming in from Seapoint towards the city in 1898. This is the Seapoint station with the old carousel building. Here is another view of the carousel building, which existed into the 70s. The line went on a little bit further to Queens Beach. The station there was situated where the Marine Institute building resides today. Here we see an engine crossing Adderley Street at Monument Station in 1900. A Garrett engine crossing Adderley Street in 1935. a 15F engine crossing Adderley Street in 1940. Here we have the two triangular buildings still present in 1949. Here we can see Monument Station in an aerial viewpoint from 1951. Also we can see the train line where it crosses Adderley Street towards the power station and Sea Point. Here we see the power station. The coal line was on the sea side of the station. The Sea Point line extended on the inland side of the station. Moving on to the Simonstown line, this picture is from 1917. And this picture is from 1922. Now we look at the construction of the second train station, which started in 1876. And here the station is complete in 1887. Note the building has 3 stories, with the third story not fully extended on all sides of the building. This picture is from 1888. Here we see the wings extending to the back of the building were quite short. Here we see the inside of the platform arch. This picture is from the 40s. Traveling back to 1896, we see the rear of the building with the platforms in its early form. Note in this picture the left-hand wing extends to the back of the arch, but not yet the right-hand wing. Here is a beautiful old steam engine ready to depart in the 1920s. Here we see a train traveling further back, passing the castle. This picture is from 1897. Here we see the middle front section of the building has been raised to match the height of the turrets. This postcard picture is from 1903 and we can see the right-hand wing extending quite far to the back. But here in 1905 we see the building in its final shape, with its turrets again extended to its original design, but with 4 stories and some decorative features on the roof line. The next few images are from the platform side of the station around 1920 to 1930. Note how the platforms have been extended and covered as opposed to the original platform images, which show only 4 uncovered platforms extending out of the arch. The Standard Bank building circa 1939. Here in 1946 we see a nice and clear picture of an elegant platform arch. This model of a 15F engine was at the entrance of the station encased in a glass casing. This picture shows Table Bay before the start of the dredging works and the creation of the foreshore. Here we can still see Woodstock Beach, soon to be replaced by railway yards. This view shows the Old Mutual building nearing completion circa 1937. Here in 1939 we see the Old Mutual building completed. Here we see the goods yards in 1938. In 1942, note how far back the platform covering stretched, all the way back to the castle. A clear image of the station and its neighboring buildings in 1946. In 1947, with the royal visit, the station building was dressed up in a light display. In this photo we see the royal parade progressing up Adderley Street. There are many folks on the rooftops. It looks quite dangerous. We see the neighboring building has been demolished and new groundworks are underway in its place. Here we see the same angle about the same time, but with a nice full capture of the Standard Bank building. The new white building neighboring the station here in 1949 is the OK Bazaar building. It is an important reference point and is still standing today. Here we see the same angle in 1950. Here we see the goods yard shacks still standing at the bottom of Adderley Street as late as 1950. In 1951, we see a nice clear image of the dredging works completed. In this nice colored photo of 1951, we see lots of steam rising from the platforms. This picture shows the layout of the final station quite clearly in 1950. In 1952, viewed from the front of the OK Bazaars building, we can see the dredging is completed. Here we see the newly reclaimed land and the old visitor center and the neighboring buildings, where the new station will eventually be built. 1955, view from the goods yards shacks with the War Memorial on the right. (1955) A nice color view of an old buildings about to be demolished. This is from 1957. Here we look down Adderley Street towards no man's land with the War Memorial visible. In 1959, we see the Visitor Center still standing. Also in 1959. In 1959, we see the start of a new station construction of the first 12 platforms. Monument Station is at the far back. This is 1963, seen from the front of the OK Bazaars building. We see a new building being constructed right at the back. The dredging is now complete. This photo is from 1965. South Africa operated steam engines until the 80s. This majestic engine is steaming away from its platform right next to the castle. The electrification is quite advanced at this time. And here we see the beautiful new modern station building in 1966 in its original form. It took almost 10 years to complete the whole project. This is the museum area of a new station, close to where Monument Station once stood. The old engine, Blackie, is plinth here and still stands here today. Here we see Blackie up close in 1970. This is 1967. We see the completed building from the top. Note the 3 new platforms built for longer, long-distance trains such as the Blue Train. In 1968, we see the start of the demolition of the old buildings around the new station. In 1968, the old arch being brought down. The roof is being removed. Demolition is now complete, with only the Visitors Center still standing. And now the Visitors Center is also gone. This is 1968. Construction of the Strand Street extension circa 1968. In 1969, we see Adderley Street being widened. Road construction complete, circa 1969. Here in 1975, we see the old space has not yet been put to use. 1980, we see the Golden Acre Center completed. We have beautiful gardens in place of the old demolished buildings. From these last few pictures, we can see that the old station resided where the Golden Acre building sits today. During the construction of the Golden Acre building, construction workers found 300-year-old remains of a reservoir which were used to supply ships with fresh water in the 1600s. If you like this video, please smash the like button and subscribe if you would like to see more of the same content.